Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. This is another paid request, this time for Andrew Chilton. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos, topics, reactions, reviews, whatever it may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for Geppetto from 2000, which I had never even heard of this. But the way it's a made-for-TV movie. Remember when they had the Wonderful World of Disney back in the day? And it's the Pinocchio story told from Geppetto's point of view, which at least that makes it a bit interesting and a bit different. If you don't keep doing the story over and over again, whereas they're still doing these type of stories ad nauseum, at least that makes it a bit more unique and a bit more fresh. I would say, though, I don't know if this would be considered a rant, but at the same time, I wasn't really a fan of the movie either. So it's kind of like sitting there going, okay, I'm not really liking the film. It does come off as cheap. It does feel like a made-for-TV movie. I'm not sure about the cast in this film. And even though it's from a different point of view, I still don't think it needed to exist. Like, out of that feeling, that reaction. Although I watch it more than, what was that one, the Cinderella movie with the Sneakerella. I watched this over Sneakerella. I watch it over that other, I think the other Cinderella movie I saw that I already forgot what the hell the full title of it was or what it came out. Now the thing with this movie, it stars Drew Carey as Geppetto, and it's a musical where Drew Carey sings a decent amount. You also have Julia Louis-Dreyfus as the Blue Fairy. Wayne Brady, he has a small role. Brent Spiner, Data from Star Trek Next Generation, he's pretty much your villain in the movie. And, you know, it follows the Drew Carey. He's a toy maker. He has this shop that's very popular with the kids. A lot of songs are done throughout the movie. Like the kids sing about how great this toy store is, and Drew Carey singing a song about pretty much wishing for a kid of his own, and you do have the No Strings song, Pinocchio. You hear him sing a little bit. Usher, A.T. Usher Raymond, he's in the movie, and he sings a song or two. Here's the thing, Drew Carey, I like Drew Carey. Some people might not even know who Drew Carey is. He had a show for quite a few years. I want to say it ran for maybe 9 seasons? Maybe 8 or 9 seasons. It was on ABC. It was called The Drew Carey Show. I remember seeing that quite a bit. And I want to say it was maybe 2003, 2004 it ended, give or take. Because he also had Whose Line Is It Anyway? Which was a UK show, but this is the American version. And that's where he met Wayne Brady. And Wayne Brady, that's when he came onto the scene, and he went off to do, you know, that great sketch in Chappelle's show. Is Wayne Brady don't have to choke a bitch? And then he's done his own, like, game shows, things of that nature. But yeah, the Drew Carey Show, I remember enjoying a decent amount way back in the day. This is when we only had about 3-4 channels, ABC, CBS, another CBS, and PBS. So if I watched TV, it'd be either stuff on CBS or ABC. And I tended to go more towards ABC because of shows like Home Improvement and The Drew Carey Show, among others. And Whose Line Is It Anyway? I remember laughing quite a bit. I wish there was a DVD, but good luck trying to find it for cheap. It's fairly expensive. I wish the whole show was on DVD, Whose Line Is It Anyway? Because I would love to watch that show again. It was, Drew Carey was the host. Usually it'd be other 4 players. It was Wayne Brady. A lot of times it's Ryan Stiles, who's on the Drew Carey Show. Colin Mockery, who's from the UK show, and the fourth guy they would kind of switch up. In fact, even Robin Williams was on the show at one point, which you can find on YouTube, and that was a lot of fun. Yeah, I remember loving Whose Line Is It Anyway. It was a simple show, same stage, you have an audience, and you pretty much improv. Absolute improv. So, scenes from a hat, and name random powers, or random jobs, or random stuff that you do. Random scenarios, and yeah, act them out, and play with the audience, and probably the cheapest show ABC could have, because all it was, again, just a bare stage, 4 people, Jim, I want to say Jim Carrey. Drew Carey is the host. So yeah, there's a reason, and it did fairly well. Again, that lasted 8 or 9 seasons as well. If anyone has a way, like, even unofficial, to maybe buy it, let me know. I would love to pick it up and rewatch that show again. I know I'm about 6 minutes in. I haven't gotten to the movie itself. I like Drew Carey. He's gone to be the host of The Price is Right. He's been the host of that for over 10 years, which is crazy, because I still keep thinking of Bob Barker, even though Jim Carrey, Jesus Christ. It's like my friend Mike OCP when he kept thinking Gillian Anderson for Catherine Henson's Star Trek 4. I wish his review was still up, but he kept calling her Jillian. Now I keep calling him Jim Carrey. Drew Carey, he definitely, when he got The Price is Right, I mean, he looks very different. He lost his weight. He's thin now. He's in shape, and he got, like, you get a job like that, you pretty much have a job for life. It's kind of like Steve Harvey. He got The Family Feud, which I've been watching some of those, and that's been very fun. Maybe appreciate Steve Harvey more, his Family Feud stint. He's been doing that over 10 years. Drew Carey, when you get a job like The Price is Right, that's why people like Pat Sajak, they've been on Wheel of Fortune forever. Alice Trebek, may he rest in peace. Well, you got Jeopardy, stuck with it. Because it's pretty much you gotta think it's a pretty decent gig. You get to relax, you're the host, it's the audience pretty much doing a lot of the work for you. You just help move it along. And, you don't have, it's job security. So yeah, Drew Carey's Price. It's still weird me saying he's the host of Price is Right, even though he's been doing it for over 10 years. Because I still keep thinking of Whose Line Is It Anyway, the Drew Carey show. My point is, I liked him. I liked him as a performer, but... And he did sing from time to time on his own show, but that worked better because it was in short spurts. Because it's a comedy show, it was more cute than anything. And Drew Carey can work in like a karaoke type of way in singing, but not for a full-blown musical. Because he'll have a tune better than I could, but I wouldn't be in a musical either. But the tune would not be able to... He wouldn't be able to keep it for very long. And they're not really songs that you'd ever listen to again. Maybe if you have kids and you can watch it and it's cute. It's pretty short, 90 minutes or so. And like I said, at least it's from a different point of view. But if I understand, the original idea was for Steve Martin or Robin Williams to do the part. I do think they could have done it better. Like Steve Martin, he did a musical with Little Shop of Horrors. A dentist. And then Robin Williams, of course, with Aladdin. I do think they would have been better choices, and they probably could have made the film work better than it did. But, Drew Carey tried to do something different. He got eviscerated from the critics, and that's why he didn't really do anything like that again. I mean, the closest to, not a musical, but he did do a dramatic role in an episode of NCIS, which I didn't follow much of that show, but still, I've seen clips of the stuff with Drew Carey, and he actually did a decent job. And like people forget, like there's more to Drew Terry than people know. Like he was in the Marine Corps. People forget Drew Terry was in the Marine Corps for quite a few years. So they just put him in sort of a box, and he fits well in that box, but it's a box nonetheless. But like I say, he has this toy store. Kids sing about the toys in the shop, and Drew Terry. They kind of wrote his character. It's supposed to be unlikable because he's a guy who thinks it's easy to be a parent. Then when he gets to be a parent, he realizes it's not as easy as it is. And then Geppetto has a lot of growing up to do. That's the point. So it's an arc to his character. But still, Geppetto's a bit of a douche. Like he's talking about the other parents, like these parents, they criticizing the parents and how they're raising the kids. The wishing star. I mean, it's no wish upon a star from Pinocchio. As far from that. Julia Louis-Dreyfus as the Blue Fairy. She has this British accent, and the fairy comes off as rather daft and kind of annoying, to be honest. And Drew Terry, this wasn't the right fit for him. I think that really comes into after 11 minutes of blundering through this video. It was a good fit for Drew Terry. It just didn't fit him. It didn't fit his personality. I do appreciate him wanting to expand. Not expand, but expand. It just didn't work out. It didn't work out either with the made-for-TV quality of the production, maybe the way the songs... Like I said, the songs I didn't really care for. I mean, I'm not a big musical guy, but there's some I liked. Rocky Horror Picture Show, Little Shop of Horrors, among others. When he gets the Pinocchio, the design, it's hard for me to ever escape the iconic design of the original cartoon from the 40s of Pinocchio. To the point that, to me, any Pinocchio adaptations don't have big shoes to fill because of the way Pinocchio looks in those songs. It's fairly iconic. And the look of Pinocchio is pretty much a little kid, but they just put some lines on his face. So just imagine, you put some lines here and a little bit on his arms. It looks like he's got a fucking skin condition. Not that he's a puppet turned to life. That's the thing, because of the low production quality, because of the low values of that. Obviously they're not going to do big special effects because they didn't have the budget for it. So it's just a kid with some skin condition looking thing. Like, I don't know, get some cream. If you get some makeup, you'd easily hide it. And then the whole town is very nonchalant that a puppet has come to life. Because they don't think it looks like a boy with just markings on his face. But everyone knows he's a puppet come to life, but they're, again, very nonchalant about it. If I saw a puppet moving like he did, I'd be a lot more of a shock and like a bit of awe, a bit of what the fuck. But the town must be normal for them. Like the only one who acts reasonable, and the fact that they're taken aback by it, is Brent Spiner, who's the villain. Because he sees it, goes, "Oh my god," and then he wants to use it for his show. And Brent Spiner, he's the guy who at least he is having fun with his role. I would say of the actors, Brent Spiner did the best as the villain. He has this ventriloquist puppet that he carries around him and he talks to, and he has a lot of gusto and energy as this villainous character. So of all the actors, he's the one that fit in the best. And the thing with the story and Drew Terry's character, which I find funny that, Geppetto, very Italian name, and so you did Drew Terry, who, if he's Italian, I'm Japanese. I'm more Japanese than he's Italian. So Zilchinata. So I thought that was rather funny. Not even attempt an Italian accent. Maybe they thought it'd be too stereotypical. He talks like he's from Cleveland. I mean, what can I tell you? And like within only like 2 days, he's already fed up with Pinocchio. And Pinocchio, he's a bit whiny, and he's asked a lot of questions. Makes sense because he just became alive 2 days ago, so he doesn't quite know how things work. And Drew Terry's trying to push him to. Again, this is like the matter of like 2 days. And that's the problem, is that you don't really get a big sense of the good times and the fun times, other than this one little bit where they're like skipping through town. Like, it's so brief, it's so small of screen time. You don't really get this love for each other, so that I don't buy the transition from obviously the boy Pinocchio being angry at him because there's a point where again, after only like 2 days, he gave up and he's like, "This is a mistake," and "Blue Fairy, can you help?" and this and that. And you can understand why Pinocchio would leave, because Geppetto's a bit of a douchebag. The idea that's the bad parenting, because he was critiquing the parents, but he's doing the same thing or worse. But the way it came off just made the character a tad too unlikable for my taste. There's a very shitty parent, not pandit. What the fuck is a pandit? Shitty parent. Like, you want to abandon the kid after only a few days. You deserve a kick in the ass. I mean, there's even a bit where Drew Terry told him act like the other kids at school. So Pinocchio does it, but then when he acted like the kids, he told to act like the kids. He did that. He just took it too literal, and he gets in trouble at school. And so when he brings it home, like, Drew Terry's like, "You have to use common sense sometimes. You don't have to cry about it." Like, what a fucking dick. I just thought that he was just... It seemed like there's more scenes of him being a dick than of being a good parent. And at the end, just came off as unlikable. I don't know, maybe I should title this a rant, because I'm not really giving a lot of positive notes to it. That happens a lot when I do reviews. I don't like the film, but we're really called a rant, and then I have to talk it out. But yeah. And so, again, you have a dickhead parent, Pinocchio that, because of the low budget production, there's not much you do with him look-wise to really create an impression. The songs I didn't really care for. Pinocchio goes off with Brent Spiner, then he runs off, so Geppetto goes after him. His journey really isn't that exciting. He goes to one town, which is weird because the town has this machine that creates kids, which is the weirdest damn part of the movie. I mean, that was weirder than a puppet coming alive. It was a machine that literally kids pop out of it. Poop out of it. That was definitely the weirdest part of the movie. If people wondered, no, there's no Jiminy Cricket in this. None at all. He briefly meets up with Wayne Brady, which is a pretty pointless scene. You could cut that out and it would not affect the story at all. It would not affect anything. It's cool to see Wayne Brady. Obviously, the two work together on Whose Line Is It Anyway? But I wish, Wayne Brady joined Drew Terry on his journey, or you would see Wayne Brady again, or his character, because he was like a magician, or wannabe magician. Would he pop up again? No. It's just a bit where he's tied up, brings him down, he fails at some magic tricks. But that's where Drew Terry realizes that he screwed up as a parent and he wants to change things. So I guess there is a crucial line and bit for the story. But it's also something that could have been done in any way, shape, or form, in any fashion. So when I say, oh, it's pointless, well, technically there is a point, I guess, for that one bit, but I don't know, it just felt like a waste of Wayne Brady, who has some talent. He has some talent in singing, He has talent in comedy. Just felt like anybody could play this role, and he's not in it that long. He's not in it that much, which is too bad. The Pleasure Island, Usher runs it. That's where he has a bit of a song, musical sequence, and it's not even one of the better songs in the whole movie, which is weird because it's Usher doing it. And that's where one of the few special effects is the Pinocchio get on a ride and you see his ears and face turn more into a donkey. Drew Carey goes after it. He has been taken onto this ship. And this is where the budget really, you can really tell they just cheaped out. Because the big scene is the whale and being swallowed by the whale. Where Geppetto goes after and to save Pinocchio, and there's the whale and it swallows Geppetto. It's all done via pictures. Like drawings. So you hear voices, but it's like here's a picture of the ocean. Here's a drawing of Geppetto on the water. Here's a drawing of Pinocchio as a donkey trying to yell out to Drew Carey. Here's a picture of the whale. Here's a picture drawn of the whale swallowing. It's just done with showing pictures. I'm like, wow, that really is cheap. That really is cheap. God damn. If this film cost more than $200, I'd be surprised. And that gets to the point, like, why do you want to see a Pinocchio film where it's that cheap? And then it cuts to him in the whale. Pinocchio's there. He's turned back to the puppet. He's not a donkey anymore because he tried to help Drew Carey's character. They're able to do something to get shot out. Brent Spiner wants the Pinocchio back because he signed a contract. And it's like Drew Carey just asking for the Blue Fairy's help every 10 minutes. Every 10 minutes, Blue Fairy, please help. Blue Fairy, please help. Blue Fairy, please help. I'm like, dude, do the shit on your own. Whether you're wit, you're anything in between. But you have to keep asking the help from the Blue Fairy every 10 minutes. It gets annoying. So Drew Carey says some stuff. Blue Fairy turns Pinocchio to a real boy. Brent Spiner's run off. Movie's over. I think this is a wasted opportunity. It's an interesting idea to have it from Geppetto's point of view, but because you have such a cheap production budget, because you don't really have a Pinocchio that looks anything worth a crap, that you just have like a few lines on his face. The kid I was indifferent on. Again, he came off as a bit whiny, is a bit shrill. Drew Carey, he works better in his own. He wasn't really familiar in his own. He wasn't. That's not the right word. He wasn't comfortable in his own skin. And singing wise, again, karaoke, maybe it's fine. For humor and Drew Carey show, it's fine. Here, it just didn't work. Julia Louis-Dreyfus, her daft Blue Fairy character, didn't care for. Wayne Brady, not utilized that well. Brent Spiner's having fun. But yeah, I would never see this film again. So, I guess this is a bit of a rant when I more think about it. But with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.